Welcome to the pop. Welcome to the pop. On the Warner Sports Network. With your hosts, Gene, it's magic. James, woo. Nigel, down. And Caleb, Pinky. The pop-off. Welcome to the pop-off. Welcome to the pop-off.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the pop-off. It's Friday. It's 2 p.m. We are here now. Guys, Nigel is here. Woody is here. I'm Gene Magic. I am here. Again, we don't have Caleb Pinkett, but we gave him, he's got a good reason why not to be here today, right? He's working on Cobra Kai. Some of you may know he's the one of the executive producers of Cobra Kai, and they are working on the filming of it right now. So, like we said earlier, it's okay if you want to miss a couple of shows. Just give us a good season, right? It's the final season of Cobra Kai. And a little spoiler, there's going to be other stuff in the Cobra Kai universe. So we, even though it's the end of Cobra Kai, there'll be some new stuff that's going to be popping off in this universe. So, we can't wait for you guys to find out about that. But without Caleb here, we have an awesome guest, as you might have seen on the thumbnail. Alex Day from Overtime Sports is here, and he's one of the most knowledgeable, especially when it comes to New York. He's one of the most knowledgeable New York fans that I know. I had the pleasure of interviewing him once before on a different show, and now we got him over here. So, before we introduce him, are they ready bringing him in? Because I want to say before we introduce him, I just wanted to get Nigel's, because I know he's not going to like Nigel's hat. I already know that. So I figured let Nigel explain his hat first. What's up with the hat?
Thank you very much, sir. Listen, I will preface this. I do have a couple Yankees hats.
We appreciate that.
But I digress. This right here, kids, you are looking at a Hat Club exclusive. This is from the Pixel Pack, and this is like almost like a needle point, if you will.
It looks like my grandmother crocheted that.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to your grandmother. Shout out to Gene's grandmother.
She's no longer with us, but
she did it in an afterlife. And in the back, we got like the flat batterman right here, as you can see. Come on, focus. There you go, baby. And then you got the Blue Jay tone on tone, the actual logo again right there. And then on the side, as per usual, the New Era tone on tone flag. This is definitely one of my favorites, hands down. I just posted it on my Hats IG, which you can go to at exclusive, EXCLOSIE exclusive. And yeah, man, I got so many more hats to post, and I'm feeling good about it, baby.
Love it. Woody, how you doing, my man?
Doing good. It is Friday. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm trying to fake it till I make it, man. I am depressed. I'm depressed. Last night, I had these boys, going all the way, and it was a bitter 16. I don't know why they call it the Sweet 16, because there was nothing sweet about last night. But oh, happy day, Alex Day! Excited to talk to him. So, hopefully that can turn my frown upside down, because right now I am sad. I got a lot of tissues, a lot of tears drying up one by one.
My game came in hot. Guy came in hot.
I got another reason for you guys to feel a little down. Did you guys hear Louis Gossett Jr. passed away today?
Yes, I saw that this morning.
So, R.I.P. to Louis Gossett Jr., first African American to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. So R.I.P. to Lou Gossett Jr. Happy trails, and we'll see you soon. But yeah, without a doubt, we got a great guest in, and without further ado, let's bring him on. Alex Day.
How are we doing,
man? How you feeling? How you feeling after yesterday's win, Yankee win?
I take pride in being one of those baseball fans who's like not an overreactor. Like I hate those fans who are freaking out online. Like, the Yankees went down 4-0 in the second inning. You would have thought the world was coming to an end in the Yankees universe. Like, baseball to me is something that it's cool because it's a marathon. 6 months, 162 games. You can't get caught up in it. In that ninth inning, when Soto threw him out at home plate, I turned into like a 12-year-old boy. Like I was more excited than I had been in a long time on an opening day. You know, the Yankees gave up so much to get Soto. They have him for 1 year. Opening day is always fun. You're playing Houston. I hate Houston. Just the stars were aligning yesterday. I was buzzing yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that throw from right field was about like, I mean, it was a clutch throw. It was on point. It was one of the reasons why we brought him here. Forget about his bat. We also brought him here for stuff like that. So
he's just a big time player. Like in any sport, you need a closer like that. You need a guy, a basketball player who wants the ball in his hands at the end of a game. There are certain QBs that no matter how good they are, you know, I don't want Kirk Cousins to have the ball with 2 minutes left. You know, like he is that kind of guy, and for him to do it in the first game, that was exciting.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So, you know, we
Cousins just totally caught a stray there. That was mean.
He was collateral damage. So, you know, one of the things we want to talk about today is did the Yankees do enough on their starting pitching? But before we get to that, I really want your opinion. Do you think we're going to re-sign Soto? Do you think he's going to be here for years to come?
I think he's going to be. Be because, first of all, like if you care about winning, you know that the Yankees are gonna. The Yankees don't take years off. Like right now, I actually kind of even feel bad for Red Sox fans a little bit because their ownership is just punting on. Like they're not even trying to win. Now I don't actually feel bad for Red Sox fans because, you know, the Red Sox fans. But you know, that's not fun. So if I was playing, I would want that kind of buy-in from ownership, which you know you're getting. Also, you know how much he cares about being Dominican, having, you know, when he's playing, having Dominicans in the crowd, living in a place with the other Dominicans. He said that like 3 or 4 times since he's come here already. Like New York City, the Bronx is like DR North. So that gives me another reason for optimism. You know, when he's out there in right field and the bleacher creatures, you know, everyone in 203, 204 are going crazy for him. Like I think that's gonna matter in for a guy who really cares about where he's from. Oh, guess what? There's thousands of Dominicans who go to every single Yankee game and are probably there not just to see the Yankees play, but him.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. It's like he's finally come home, you know, and that's it's like he's home, and you know what? And I hope it's a fast start for him because we also know how Yankees fans can be when it's a slow start for a player, especially new to town, not a born Yankee, not a homegrown Yankee. The crowd can get it. So I don't want that to happen where it kind of sours him on New York a little bit. I hope it's a fast start so we can get it going.
I need the Dominican Yankee fans to be like the Italian Yankee fans when they got Rizzo. Like they got Rizzo and everyone's going like this, and you know they were doing like DeVito before Tommy DeVito came there.
Yeah.
Like I need the Dominicans, you know, and I need the white Yankee fans, the black Yankee fans. I need everyone being all wearing Dominican
all in
flags. We're all in on this here. Everything is. It's not what's the word. It's Kalo K from now on.
Yes,
you know?
we're all honorary Dominicans if we're Yankee fans. I get it. So let's we'll start with you, Alex. What's your take? Did the Yankees do enough for their pitching staff? Because I'm gonna be honest. Early, it looked a little bumpy with Nestor Cortez as an opening day starter. I was a little nervous opening, at that point. Did the Yankees do enough with their pitching, man?
I think it's been proven that you can't just have 5 guys and call it a day because every single year guys get hurt. And with the Yankees, every single year guys get hurt. So I'm worried about their depth. I feel much better about their 1 through 5 than other Yankee fans do because I believe in Clark Schmidt. Marcus Stroman is a dog. Like he's just that kind of personality that you want on your team until you don't. But I'm a fan of him, and I think I think the Yankees need that kind of guy. Cole getting hurt. I mean, they can't win the World Series without Garrett Cole.
No, they can't. Yeah,
it's really as simple as that. I feel better about 1 through 5 than other Yankee fans, but there's no denying that they don't have enough depth. I think if you asked me who is the second best pitcher on the Yankees last year, like if you were to take the starters, the bullpen, if you just rank them all, like who just has the best stuff, I would have said Michael King probably has the second best stuff. That, getting Soto is amazing, but I think losing a guy like Michael King is going to be a hard guy to replace too.
Nigel, you guys had Stroman up there. What's your take on the Yankees pitching situation?
Yeah, actually, that's what I was thinking too. Once Alex said Stroman, I was like, oh yeah, we had him, and we felt exactly the same way. We loved him until we didn't have him, and then we knew how much we needed him, and it's just like, it's a tough. Like he definitely puts a little void in your rotation, just because of his personality on and off the field. He's a great pitcher. And sorry, what was your? I was just going through my Stroman. What was your question, Gene?
Did the Yankees have enough pitching? Did they do enough to their pitching this offseason?
I mean, listen, I don't pay too much attention to the pitching staff, pitcher rotation of the Yankees in particular, but I do think that it's not going to be the same Yankees as last season. I think that there's going to be a little bit more of a leap, a little bit more, because last season, our division, I've said this before too, our division is the hardest one in there. Like, I mean, regardless of how good or bad the Bo Sox do as well, I mean, they're pretty atrocious. I went to one of the games last summer. I was like, this is rough, man. The atmosphere was sick, but it was rough. So I think the Yankees are going to do a lot better. I think it might be yours to lose based on this pitching, on how your pitching does, to be honest with you. It might be yours to lose. I really do think, to Alex's point, that you guys aren't in a losing fashion where you're just going to lose multiple seasons. I think it's like you get that one out of your system, figure it out, and then you're going to come back stronger and better the next. So I think it's going to be, this division might be yours to lose.
Nigel, I'm with you on the division though. Like, I think 3 teams will make the playoffs coming from the East.
Easy.
I don't know who, and what's crazy is I'm tempted to even say 4. Like, it's hard to even leave, Toronto, great year last year. Baltimore won 100 games.
Yeah.
Yanks reloading. Red Sox aren't going to be in the mix. Like, do you leave out Tampa? I don't know. I feel like
that's it.
Than to not leave out Tampa. So, it's good. One team will come from the Central, and then maybe, 1 or 2 from the West. So yeah, the East is stacked.
Yeah.
What do you think, Woody?
I don't know, man. I feel like maybe I'm just gonna be melancholy this whole episode. I don't know, but there's a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks. Like you guys said, I mean, Cole. There's no questions there. You need Cole if you guys are gonna go all the way. But I'm just not as high on 2 through 5. As you guys are. I don't know if it's enough. I definitely don't think it's bad, but I don't know if it's enough to get as far as you're trying to go to reclaim old glory.
I mean, I'm kind of with you. I look at this way. Baltimore was good last year. They added Corbin Burns, who's already had his first start, was a pretty good one yesterday for Baltimore, and I felt like there was a lot of promising the Yankees did. Oh, the Yankees are in on Montgomery. Every free agent pitcher that was worth anything, the Yankees were in on, starting with Yamamoto. And I get Yamamoto. I think he was going to the Dodgers anyway. I think it was already a done deal. I think it was always going to be the Dodgers. But I really do feel like I felt like we were promised, not promised necessarily, because no one said, "Oh, we're definitely going to get this guy." We're definitely, but I felt like, oh, you're hearing all these articles and just reading all these articles and hearing all this chatter. They're in on all these pitchers that were free agents, and we walked away with none of them. And I don't think Stroman's been good at times, but when he's bad, I feel like he's really bad. I feel like he's one of those guys. He's kind of streaky, and that's what scares me about Stroman.
Stroman is the guy that I'm actually worried about less. It's really Carlos Rodon. Like, in my mind, I'm a big Giants fan.
I'm not. I agree with you. I'm more worried about Rodon. I'm just saying there was so many other options that we could have gotten other than Stroman that I thought were better options, and we just settled on Stroman. I felt like that was my problem with it. Yeah, no, that is definitely true. That is definitely. I mean, I think they probably needed 2 starters. That's really what it comes down to. Stroman checks a box for sure. That other box wasn't really checked as much. So. Did you want Montgomery back? I would have taken that. I would have given him that deal he just signed. I didn't want to give him what he was looking for, but if it came down to a 1-year deal, yeah,
Yeah, I will say people are overrating him. Like I heard I think it was Tim Kirchin maybe saying that like he couldn't believe this guy is a true number one starter and didn't get that money. He's not a true number one starter.
No, he's like a number 3 to me.
A 3 last year he pitched like a 2, even at times a 1. But
yeah,
that doesn't just make you get number one starter money on a 6-year, 7-year deal. So like if they wanted to give him 1 year, cool with me. Like he would slot in nicely. But I'm glad that they didn't give him that initial contract that he was looking for.
What about Snell? Were you wanting the Yankees to go after Snell? Because we were promised him too. They made it seem like they were going to get him, and all of a sudden he signs elsewhere.
I feel similarly about Snell as I do Monty, although I think Snell actually is more of a 1 year. Snell has more ace type of stuff than Jordan Montgomery. But the deal that he got from San Francisco would have done that in a heartbeat.
That's what I'm saying.
Snell's in his 30s, right?
I think early 30s. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I needed to give him like a 5 or 6 year deal. But
here's my thing is he won the Cy Young last year. He's pitched in the division. He's a lefty. I think he checked all the boxes. I don't know why people were so like. There was a faction of people that really wanted him, and there was a faction of people that like, don't touch him. I didn't get why you wouldn't want to touch him if you can bring him in for the right price. Do you know what I mean? So, I thought he'd be a good fit. He's like I said, he's pitched in the division before. He's just coming off a Cy Young Award season. It seemed like a good fit.
I would have been much happier giving a big contract to Snell than Monty, and I would have given either of them that short contract. And not like it matters, because it doesn't matter. But you know that Snell and Judge are boys, and he would fit into that locker room, that clubhouse pretty well. I'm not saying that matters, but it's just like you don't want someone to come in and disrupt, especially late. And I get all that, but I don't think a guy like Snell, who's a pretty well-liked guy, would be that would be an issue.
All right, man. No, I hear you. So you know what? Another thing we want to talk about is some World Series predictions. There we go. World Series predictions. Woody, who are you? What's your World Series predictions this year, man? I know it's early. I know. Caleb will never give his World Series predictions because he doesn't like to talk baseball until like August. But Woody, what's your picks?
Well, I mean, you guys talking about Monty, man. I think the Diamondbacks, they just laid the smackdown yesterday. I think we are looking at the D-backs in the Astros this year. That's if I had to look into my crystal ball, I think those teams are best set up for the long haul. Like Alex said, it's a marathon. So maybe, I'm overreacting a little too much, 14 runs yesterday. But that's what I'm thinking.
Alex, who do you got in the World Series this year?
Look, Gene, you've known me for a couple of years now. You know how biased of a
yes.
And it's respectable because I don't hide it. There'll be other talking heads who will try to act like they're not being biased and will be biased. I'm the most biased dude in the world. I pick the Yankees every single year. And the year I don't pick them, I want you guys to do a wellness check on me. With that being said, I'm going Yankees over the Atlanta Braves.
Okay, I like that pick. Actually, it's not what I that's not what I got, but I like that.
And honestly, if I wasn't a Yankees fan, I would pick the Braves over the Yankees. But I'm not going to do that.
There we go. Nigel, what do you got? You can't say Toronto. Man, you can't say Toronto.
Listen, bro, you know what I'm gonna say. I am gonna thank you. I was out here just puffing these like feathers, and I'm like, I'm gonna do the same thing, man. I'm gonna say my Toronto Blue Jays. We're gonna bring some magic back to the World Series versus the Philadelphia Phillies. I feel like, yes, I'm saying it. I feel like the Phillies, man, I like the way they play ball, man. And if they can get that second half together and they can just smash ball just like they did last season, then they're good, man. They're good. But right now I got the Jays and Phillies. I'm going offside. I don't even care. I'm popping off.
All right, well, here's the deal then. I'm not going to be biased at all because both these teams I dislike. Both these teams. In fact, I really hate both these teams.
If you pick the Astros right now,
I'm not picking the Astros. I got Baltimore versus the D-backs. I've hated the D-backs ever since they beat us in 2001. I've hated them ever since then. And obviously, I hate Baltimore for obvious reasons. I just think Baltimore had
you
a
hate
good
Baltimore?
I hate Baltimore.
Do you?
I hate every team in our division.
The Washington Redskins. Like, I don't care about the Redskins. Redskins haven't been relevant in 20 years, you know?
You want to know what's funny? And Alex, I'm going to apologize to you now because I'll say this. I'm a Jet fan. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Do you know what team I hate the most? I hate the Giants the most.
You hate the Giants?
Over my division rivals. But can I tell you why? That's what it is. I hate the big brother. I hate the Giants because the Giant fans always, whenever they would give the Jets a compliment, it was always like a backhanded compliment. They'd be like, well, not bad for, it's not bad for the Jets, like that kind of thing. Like, so I rooted against them. I rooted for the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I actually had to root for the Patriots in the Super Bowl because I just can't stand the Giants. But yeah, I hate all my division foes. I hate Baltimore because I know Baltimore, because the thing with Baltimore too, they're going to be good for a while. That's a young team, man. As long as they can pay the players, and now maybe with the new ownership and stuff and the new management, they'll maybe start paying their players. They bring in Corbin Burns. That's going to be a good team for a while. So I think we're gonna hate them for a while. But I got Baltimore versus the D-backs with D-backs taking it.
I'm cool with Baltimore for right now. They'll start to piss me off, and then we'll talk later, and I'll be down on them. But if you think about it, Baltimore was great in the early mid 2010s when the Adam Jones and Wieters and Machado. Yankees weren't good then. The Yankees really were not very. When you think of like the end of the Core 4 era, and those were some painful teams from like 13 to 16. Yeah. Yankees weren't good then. And then when was Baltimore good before that? It was kind of a while. I don't know. They're not right. Exactly. And like, it's now been over 20 years. So I don't know. I don't hate them yet. Adley Rutschman will do something, and then I'll be like, all right. But like until then, they're fine.
But I do think they're gonna have a great year this year. Johnny Jimenez says Mets over Yankees in the Subway World Series. I'm sorry, guy. Mets are not sniffing, not even sniffing it. I'm sorry. Moody, you're a Mets fan, right?
Would be really mad if your prediction came true. That's why.
Listen, maybe
Arizona, Baltimore. Bro, no one would watch that.
Nobody's watching that. Nobody's watching that, man. Like
to make sure that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, dude. There's no way.
Maybe,
even though the Diamondbacks came in hot with their new unis, all flashy with some like teal around the 8, that's not gonna fly, man. Nobody's watching that World Series.
Real heads would be hype, and I'm with you on that. But anyone who is on the fence about turning it on would not turn that on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, but that is my prediction. I think that's what's going to happen. Maybe we don't watch it. I'll probably watch it.
No, you won't. No, you won't. This is the only prediction that you're going to make that you are not going to follow up on.
No, I'm going to follow. I have it written down. I have it written down right here, man. It's written down. I am going to follow up on that. It's like my Sam Darnold. It'll be like my Sam Darnold take.
I know.
Which didn't come true.
Sam Darnold take. I would love to hear this.
I was saying before the season started that I thought he would end up returning to the starting lineup and winning the Super Bowl with the 49ers. So listen, he might have been he could have had a chance. That's a great team over there.
That's not that crazy. It didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
He didn't play and they didn't win. But I thought you were going to be like, oh, he's going to win comeback player of the year or something like that.
I think I said that too.
Yes, you did. 100%.
Regular season ending.
Last year.
I was going to say, Alex, there's a lot here that Gene is leaving out. There's a lot because okay, go Gene, go.
If he would have gotten back into the lineup and would have won the Super Bowl last year, he would have been a comeback player of the year. Right? I mean, he would have been. That's a pretty good story.
Yeah. Yeah, I get right, because then it would technically be like the Flacco path,
or even the Geno Smith path.
Right.
So, I think he would have.
Depends how early he came back, though. Like if he just was there in the playoffs, right? Then he's
I was thinking he was going to come back earlier in the season, just because like they would have put Purdy back in from his injury. He just wouldn't have been right, and Homeboy would have took it for the rest of the way and won the Super Bowl and comeback player of the year. Didn't happen though. So, but listen, there's always next year. Maybe you can do it with the Vikings. That's my pick next year.
That was
Mikey said,
whoever tweeted that about the Mets. That was a crazy take.
and it's okay.
Hey, Johnny, you and I are united as Mets fans, man, but I think you got to adopt my persona right now, just being melancholy. It's a rough life for us.
It's gonna be a tough year. It's gonna be a tough year.
Keep going for 3 years. Just remember that.
He did promise 3 years, 3 or 4 years that they were gonna win a title. It's been 3 years now, right? So
yeah, yes, it has.
So yeah, it's listen, maybe one day King Cohen, is the guy in FAN likes to call him, will finally sign a free agent that makes sense and means something. So until then, sayonara, guys. Well, congratulations on your Rangers too. I know that's your team. Rangers look pretty excellent so far.
Gene, you froze. Sorry. Say it one more time.
My bad. I said congratulations on your Rangers. I know Rangers. We don't really talk much hockey here, but I just want to give you some props on the Rangers this year.
Thank you.
They're looking pretty good, man. I see you always got the reaction video as to how they're doing. They look. This might be the year.
I'm not half the type of hockey fan that I am a Rangers fan. Like I watch almost every Rangers game. I'm a diehard fan. I don't really watch, like I won't sit there and watch a game that's not the Rangers, but I feel really good about this.
Like you won't watch like Ottawa and like Edmonton.
Dude.
That's a rough 3 hours.
Rough and also I do kind of feel that way about baseball too. Like I won't sit there and watch a baseball game that's not the Yankees. And of course I'm paying attention and I'm watching highlights and stuff. But like there's too many other things to do than watch like a National League baseball game for me.
I get you, man. I get you.
But yes, the Rangers look unbelievable right now. My one thing about it, because they've had these couple years, last 2 years, where you think, oh, they might have it. Like this team looks really good. In years past, they played like a regular season type of game where it's more finesse. It's a little more, it's a little more cute hockey. They're trying to make the perfect play, and a lot of times they do. But then the playoffs, it's like the NBA. Space gets tight. It's more physical. Guys are playing tougher defense. And you can't just snap your fingers and play that type of hockey. And, you see in the NBA too, like a lot of teams think they're just going to get to the playoffs and they'll just snap their fingers and play a certain type of way. This year, the Rangers are more conditioned to play that type of, like they're already playing playoff type of hockey in the regular season. So I'm hopeful that transfers and, they don't have to snap their fingers. They could just continue playing. They're a lot more physical. They're a lot deeper. A lot of the young guys have more experience, and I'm just bound to be heartbroken again this year.
We'll see. I know. I like the run they're on right now. Most points in the league right now. So we'll see. But let's talk a little NBA. Where do we think, or not? Where do we think? Do we think that the Cavs? The owner came out just recently saying that they're going to bring. They're definitely bringing him back. Donovan Mitchell. Do we think that's going to happen? Where's Donovan Mitchell going to end up? Do the Cavs actually have enough to bring them back?
I think he does end up with the Cavs.
Really?
I was lucky enough to actually do stuff with the Cavs a couple weeks ago. I was out there and I interviewed Donovan. I was with a couple of the guys there. They have a nice little thing going there. Like people aren't really talking about the Cavs. They're not really watching the Cavs, and all they've done is win. And Donovan's been playing great. Now, if he doesn't end up in Cleveland, it's time for him to come on home. That's where it's time for him to come on home. If he stays in Cleveland, it wouldn't surprise me. I'd be happy for him, be happy for them. Nice people over there. If he doesn't, we're waiting. We're waiting. Come on home. Come on home to New York, Donovan. I would love to see him be paired up with Brunson. I mean, it would be a little bit weird in the sense of, okay, who's the closer? You have two guys who kind of play not the same position, but definitely the same kind of role in it. And I think it's more a question of the Knicks of, you need that big man if it's not going to be Randall. But I do think Mitchell stays in Cleveland. What do you think, Woody?
Honestly, I might actually have to agree letter for letter with what Alex said, that I do think he's staying in Cleveland. They are building something. They have increased their wins each of the last few years. I'm not sure if that's actually a trend that's about to continue this year, but I know the last 3 years they were increasing their wins. But if there was any way, if there was anything that James Woody could do from my little house here to get him to come on home to New York, the Knicks, he grew up in Elmsford. If this man who grew up in New York as a boy could come to Madison Square Garden and light it up next to Jalen Brunson, whoo, I mean, I don't think there would be that much, they play different positions. And the Knicks, the biggest thing that scares me, and I think Alex broke it down beautifully from a hockey perspective. Now we talk about the NBA and the regular season and what changes in the playoffs. I do not like the offensive firepower that the Knicks have, or lack thereof. I don't. Are you serious?
They scored 145 points the other night, though.
Well, that was
that was against my Raptors, man. Like,
you can't,
that's not valid, bro.
They still scored it.
That was against the little sisters of the poor.
If the Celtics start lighting it up, I'm afraid. I am terrified. I don't think
the Celtics are the only team in the East that I feel that like the Knicks would really be a heavy underdog against in a 7-game series.
I agree.
Give me the Bucks too. The Bucks. I can't.
I think we can take it to the Bucks, man.
I got the Knicks. If it's Knicks Bucks, I got the Knicks.
I'm not confident about it, but I think that we have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can really only rely on Brunson. Playoff Randall, I can't rely on playoff Randall. I can rely on Brunson.
Okay.
Maybe
you've been relying on Brunson all season.
That game. That's one game. A series, we need somebody like Mitchell.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I was going to say, Nigel, we got another Raptors fan in the house. Boomtown 89.
Yeah, don't worry. When it's my turn, when it came to the table, I was going to shout out Boomtown 89ers. I was like, yo, man, appreciate you. This guy's been he's had my back the whole time. I've been getting crushed out here. Loving Toronto.
And I know right now we're on Twitter/X and we're on YouTube. So guys, if you're on Twitter, if you get a chance, why don't you come over to YouTube too, so you can join the chat. I don't know if you can. I know we don't see the chat from Twitter. So if you want to join the chat, just come on over to YouTube. Because I know we got a ton of you guys on Twitter. Listen, you guys keep saying that the Cavaliers are building something that he'd want to stay there for, but the Knicks are building something too. It's not like he's coming to a team where he's got to be the savior. He's coming to a team that's building as well, and he could be the final piece. It's not like he's coming over and he's just going to be another guy. He could be the final piece, and he gets to come home. He gets to be, maybe the hero in his hometown, a town where he understands what it's like to be a Knicks fan and watch them year after year not win anything. Like, he grew up through that playoff drought, right? So, like, how old is he now? How old is Spider?
28.
I would say like 27, 28. So, like, he lived through that, like, putrid Knicks era. Don't you think it means something for him to come home and actually be part of a team? Because right now, what are they? The 3rd seed. They're only out of the Sioux seed by like a game. I think a game and a half. What I gotta feel like that's gotta mean something to him. No,
listen, man. I don't think you're wrong. Like I think you're right, and I think you guys being homers about the dude coming back is valid, but at the end of the day, I think it's the opportunity now playing with all these young kids with Garland and Mobley and Allen, like the squad that's coming up. And he, on this team, selfishly, he has the highest average, I believe, on the team, scoring average on the team, like 27 or 28 points or something, 6 assists and like 5 rebounds. Like, he's leading the charge with this young squad. And we all know when it comes to winning a championship, when it comes to that marathon in the NBA, your team chemistry is unparalleled. Like, you need that to make sure you can get through. And then especially going into the bench, right? Going deeper into the bench. I think he's going to stay as well. So I'm on board with him staying because he just fits so well in that Cleveland Cavaliers squad. And I feel like they're making moves. I don't know if they're going to be championship caliber within the next season or two, but I think they'll continue to make playoff runs and deeper playoff runs in the near future.
No, I agree. I just think that there's so much that the Knicks could offer pretty much the same thing as the Cavs can offer. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe money wise they can't, but I feel like they can offer they offer as far as the experience. They can offer that plus, but the added bonus is that he's going to be home and he's going to be doing it for a team that hasn't done it in a very, very long time.
I don't want to punch down here. We're talking about Cleveland versus New York. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm not going to punch down, but
sorry for any Landers that might be listening, but yeah, like
yeah.
And he knows what New York is. He knows what New York means. He knows what it like. It's like they call it the Mecca for a reason, Madison Square Garden.
But sometimes, and rightfully so, like you don't want to punch down, Alex. Sometimes you don't want to go back to the Mecca because it's insane over there, man. Like the media is ravenous. Like that's one thing for you to come home and be like, I'm home, baby. And if you don't produce within the first 48 hours of you being there, man, the media will have at you. And then it's going to get to your head, and then it's a wrap. We all know that about all New York sports across the board.
Look, Donovan Mitchell is no Joey Gallo.
You can put your own comment on there. The last one. Hear me out. We don't need Spider. I am not trusting any of these people to put up 20 points per game. That's not Jalen Brunson in a playoff series. I'm really not trusting them. If we stop teams from scoring, like if the defense can shut teams down to like 90 points, all right, cool. Let's try to make it to the finals. But in any other case, in 2024, in this era of basketball where that's extremely unlikely, I need somebody else. I need a proven scorer.
I mean, they are doing it right now, and they're not even healthy. They haven't been healthy for a long time.
Like you said, regular season versus playoffs. It's a different animal. Yeah. Different breed.
We played some pretty poor teams the last week or so, and that's what like last week and a half. That's what's maybe made it a little easier to stack some of these wins up. Do I trust this team right now going up against the Celtics? I agree with you, Woody. I don't. I don't. I do trust them against Milwaukee. I'm not saying that they would beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series. I think they have a chance to beat Milwaukee. I don't think it's going to be a slaughter or a bloodbath by any stretch. I think that they have just as good a chance to beat Milwaukee as Milwaukee has to beat us. But the Celtics series is the series that would scare me. And then even Denver. Like, if you got lucky enough to get to the finals, if you were good enough to get to the finals, this team is not good enough to beat Denver. We've already seen it this year. So I do think we need that extra piece. Now, again, maybe with a healthy Randall and healthy OG, that's not that big a deal. Maybe that's enough to get us over those humps because we haven't had Randall since the beginning of the season. We haven't had OG since how long's he been out? Like a month or so. So I get it, but I would feel better with one more body like that. I just think.
How many series do the Knicks have to win for this season to be a success?
Depends where they finish. They finished third. You're talking about they finished third in the East?
At least one.
No, you got to win.
I don't even know if it matters where they finish now. Because we've seen what they've been the bulk of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they got to get to the conference finals. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy unless they get to the conference finals this year.
They need to win two. They need to win 2 rounds.
Yeah, because we got to the second round last year, didn't win, and that felt like a disappointment. Maybe not as much so because we lost to the team that eventually went on to the finals. That made it feel easier, but in the moment, in the moment, it felt like a huge disappointment because I thought we should have been able to beat the Heat.
Definitely. I felt like we owned them in the regular season, and then the playoffs, the different animal.
But we all, we're not trying to go back down that road, but we all, and I predicted out the gate that the Heat was just like they were unstoppable in the scariest way, and it was really ridiculous to watch them beat up on everybody and continuously win. It was like The Walking Dead. It's like they were down and they just came back up with another season. You're like, yo, I'm done with this show, man. It's like season finale. It's over, right? Nope. They're back again with one more season. Okay, show's over. Nope. We're back with a spinoff, baby. Like it's like The Walking Dead for the Heat last season.
Yeah.
Wild run.
Yeah. Playoff Jimmy is something else, man.
Yeah. It's next level.
Well, But so I want to talk a little bit about that Laker-Milwaukee game from the other night. Could that be the game of the year? Double overtime, 128-124 win by the Lakers. Could that be the winner? Could that be the game of the year?
I think the Laker Warriors game
from like 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, yeah, I think my Wi-Fi is not doing great right now.
No, we hear you.
We hear you. You're clear right now.
That Lakers Warriors game from was that January? That was up there for me. But that Lakers comeback the other night was spectacular. I'm like a massive. I'm like LeBron neutral. Like it's like I like LeBron, but like the LeBron fans kind of drive me crazy a little bit. Kind of like Taylor Swift fans a little bit. They're just they're a little. It had nothing to do with Taylor Swift or LeBron. It's just your fans are freaking me out, man.
That's how I feel about the Giants.
Oh, Gene.
I'm sorry, bro.
But this Lakers team is fun. This Lakers team is really fun, and I don't want to say that when LeBron's in there, those guys can't cook, because I think LeBron does an amazing job of making his teammates better in some ways that other stars have not. But seeing guys like D'Angelo Russell and Austin, why am I blanking on his last name right now?
Reeves.
Austin Reeves. I kept wanting to call him Austin Rivers, and that is
naturally, as one does.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Seeing them go off, fun Lakers team, and they're not going anywhere, right? I guess you can't be counted out if you have LeBron, but fun Lakers team, and that was a hell of a game, hell of a comeback.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun one.
On another Doc Rivers team, Doc Rivers just the comeback king.
Yeah, but on the wrong side of the.
I couldn't think of a fancy way to actually say what I was trying to say.
It's he was like the reverse comeback king, the reverse world. Yes. Listen, I actually watched that game twice. I actually liked the game so much. I actually watched the replay the next day. I thought it was that great of a game. So let's switch gears to the Sweet 16. I know you've been all over March Madness, Alex. What's your take on what's on the action so far? Who did you have winning the whole thing? Who was your prediction?
I'm not a chalky kind of guy. Like I really never like picking the favorite. I had UConn winning when I filled out my bracket. It's kind of hard to move off that pick, because until I see them win by single digits, it's kind of hard to say that they're going to lose anytime soon.
They look tough right now, man.
They look tough, and for a couple reasons. One is it still feels like they haven't played their best. Like every time you watch them, you're like, wow, they're this good and they're not shooting well. Oh, they're this good and they're getting beaten this kind of way, and they're still beating the crap out of you. Like they look amazing while still not playing their best game. And the other reason why I felt comfortable picking them, despite the fact that they're the chalky pick, they're the team that won last year. These are new dudes, they're hungry as everyone else, because most of them didn't win last year. Yeah. It goes to show what a crazy job that Hurley has done with this group. I feel pretty good about UConn. I really hate that I'm saying that. There have been teams that have been fun to watch. Illinois last night, they kind of had me believing. I'm not saying they're going to go all the way, but hard to pick against UConn right now. And of course, my Blue Devils, but
What about you, Woody? Where I know you're upset because you had a rough go of it. Your bracket is busted.
UConn's a pretty good pick. Dare I say the best pick to make right now. But I also think Purdue has a real shot. I just see how this game flows through. I think Zach Edey, how they organize their game plan around him. I mean, the boy is on the line like 2018 James Harden. Like every play, I feel like the boy is on the line or making the right pass out of the double. I mean, it's a really, really hard deal to defeat him. And I think UConn might actually be the only team properly equipped to make that happen. I did have my boys. I was feeling good about them. Sometimes, in battles of this nature with March Madness, sometimes ties go to the old men, right? Because they know this is the end. After this, I'm gonna have to be an accountant, so we might as well host up this trophy. But
you have Armando Bacot. He's like a 10th year senior. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I thought he was a grown man amongst boys, but he was out here. I can't even finish that sentence because it would have been inappropriate. But he has disappointed me. He is disappointing me.
Does he have the worst tattoos?
RJ Davis literally shot 3 for 546 last night. Check the stats.
Woody, does Armando Bacot have the worst tattoos in sports?
He might. I'm
watching that game last night. He looked like a middle school detention desk. He looked like he got put stickers on him all over. Like, man.
Have those classic S's.
I know Armando has the NIL money. Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's bad. I live out here in Chapel Hill, and I must say, one of these local restaurants, they have a sandwich named after him. I will tell you right now, that is the most disgusting sandwich I've ever seen. I literally ordered it out of respect and had to give it back. I was like, "Oh my look!"
You actually gave it back?
I had, yeah.
You didn't just eat it, I can't eat the sandwich.
It just smelled foul. Like,
if those tattoos manifested into a sandwich, that's what it was. That's exactly what it is.
What was on it? Like whitefish and mustard?
I gotta look it up, man. I gotta look it up. But it is they had a couple, and I was like, oh yeah, like the Bacot. I think it was actually a burger. Like it was a hamburger, like the Bacot burger or something like that. God, and they just had the most wild topping. Like just it was not good.
You live in Chapel Hill right now?
That's pretty much a metaphor for this tournament run for UNC right now. Again, it's not even all on Bacot. RJ Davis, he shot 3. Look up the stats: 3 for 546 from the field last night. You're never gonna win when your star player does that. Yeah. Oh yeah. 0 from 3. It was terrible.
Well, it's gonna happen sometimes. Nigel, what about you, man? Where are you at?
I've just been thoroughly, and I mentioned this I think last week on the pod. I've just been thoroughly entertained by the tournament just in general. I mean, I think I can't remember if it was Caleb. I can't remember who mentioned this before, but I'm jacked about the women's side of everything right now. That's where I am. So my attention hasn't really been with the men, but I've watched a couple games. Right now, to Alex's point, UConn looks like I don't want to say what are they waiting for, but maybe it's the Final Four. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. I don't know what's going to happen, but you can see it. It's noticeable. It feels like they're running practice in the first half, and then the second half they're just finishing it. They're just doing cool down. Like, it's wild to watch this team. You're like, wait, when do they play like it's game time? And they're still cleaning up. So I think I'm feeling UConn, and Woody had mentioned this earlier. I found it very intriguing. There's something for me with Purdue and Gonzaga. Like, either of those teams, I don't know what it is about them. Gonzaga has had such great success in the last 5-6 years that program has really stood out. And I feel like it's one of those two that is going to go a little deeper in the Midwest, right? Because they have Creighton and Tennessee. So, I mean, that's 3 and 2. Sure, Tennessee's 2.
Tennessee's pretty tough.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not discounting that, but I just feel like something magical with Purdue and Gonzaga going forward. So I feel like it's one of those teams. But then, I'm all on board for UConn. Like, those Huskies they're mean, man.
That's a tough out, man. Anyone that goes up against them. I feel bad for our friend Abby for Arizona. Arizona didn't seem to make it. So
we should send her a gift basket or a care package or something.
Routine. Like, every year, they get eliminated, they get upset by somebody, they just get smacked down. That was. I'm not even gonna lie. They made me a little bit of money. that collapse of the Sweet 16.
So, Donnie Clark, just to backtrack a little bit, Donnie Clark says that he's still concerned about Nestor and Rodon. I agree, man. And I know, Alex, you shared your concerns about Rodon as well. And Nestor concerns me too, because I feel like he hasn't been the same pitcher as he was that one year that he was lights out. He was lights out that one year. There's a part of me I feel like, did we catch lightning in a bottle? Was that just a really good year? Because he hasn't seemed the same to me, But when you're muted, Alex.
Sorry about that. I'm still a believer in Nestor. I am. Look, that one year, I think it was a little bit of an aberration to be like, this is who he is, where he's an all-star and he looked like a top of the rotation. Yeah, sure, that might be an aberration, but I still think he's a great pitcher. And by the way, after that first inning opening day, he really settled in.
He settled
pretty well. He's a middle to back end of the rotation kind of guy. I think he's a 3 or 4 starter. He can be at the top of your rotation. As far as Rodon goes, I don't want to equate it to the Giants, because I know I'm not with a bunch of Giants fans right now, but I kind of put it as Rodon is to the Yankees, as Evan Neal is to the Giants, where the team invested a bunch in this guy, Giants in terms of top 10 pick, Yankees in terms of a ton of money. And then their first year, they absolutely fall flat on their face, couldn't go any worse. And a lot is riding on them to straighten it out. And you're kind of just stuck and hoping and praying that it happens. The Yankees need Rodon to be their number 2. The Giants need Neal to not be a revolving door at right tackle. Like, they're just stuck. And they need these, they need these dudes to figure it out. If you can get Rodon if he can make 25 starts and have an ERA under 4.5, I'm even giving him 4.5. I would take that.
That he's getting grossly overpaid for that. I mean, I'm sure, it seems like everybody is, but like that's a gross overpayment for him if that's all he can do. Right? Agree?
Oh, 100%. Right now,
you'll take it.
Right now, it's nothing but a sunk cost. So I'll take what I can get right now, and then we'll see.
Who was the guy we signed to like a 4-year deal from Miami back when they used to be the Florida Marlins? I feel like it was like the early 2000s, and he never. No, it wasn't Javi Vasquez.
Carl Pavano.
Carl Pavano. I was gonna say, I think it was an Italian name. Carl Pavano, and he did nothing in 4 years, and it was like the most wasted contract I think we've ever had. That was a bad contract.
Yeah,
that was when $10 million a year was like a big career, a big contract.
Send him and Ellsbury to the Shanghai Sharks. That's what they should do with Carl and Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yeah, it was rough, man. That was a rough contract. So let's get into some NFL news. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. We were talking about ranking our quarterbacks that are coming out in the draft. Woody, how would you rank your quarterbacks coming out in the draft?
I am not a big fan of the child pictured right there, Caleb Williams. I know he is a consensus number 1. I actually think this whole draft class might disappoint some people. I think this class, they're talking about this class like it's one of the stronger ones. They did this same thing in 2021, and that has proven to not be the case for 2021. Almost all of those QBs have been replaced. As a matter of fact, we're talking about Caleb. He is probably going to replace, Justin Fields, who was from that 2021 draft class. So I'm not super high. This is going to seem like a homer pick, but ask Gene about how I feel about the New York Jets, and he will be the first to tell you. I would hope that I'm not a homer. I am not biased.
Not a homer. I feel like he's definitely not a homer.
I call it how I see it. There's nobody, even just the Knicks. I got people calling me a Brooklyn Nets fan. All right, see me at Whole Foods saying that type of rubbish. Okay, I'm Knicks till I die. I just
see me at. Hold on, can we just talk about that flex? See me at Whole Foods and then talk trash to me. My guy's like, listen, while I got my Trader Joe's in my basket, you go on and you come throw hands. All right. Amazing. Continue. I just think throwing Whole Foods in there is like a huge flex. All right? Okay.
Shout out
Maybe
to
Biggie and Pac would still be alive.
Yeah.
Right? They just
maybe makes you wonder, makes you think.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey,
See me at Whole Foods is the equivalent of like Metro Boomin. That's like a Metro Boomin track.
Yo, how about that Kendrick verse though, right? That Kendrick verse?
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That Kendrick verse is pretty fire though.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you got, Woody?
Kendrick needs to put out a good album since 2017 before I.
That's
true.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what though, that song the song like that, it doesn't catch me until Kendrick's part comes on. The whole song, I'm like, it's all right. And then Kendrick comes on, I'm like, oh wait, what? And then the Kendrick verse.
We all know how good he is. Just at some point, like if he wants to start making some more good music, since we all know how good he is, I wouldn't be opposed to that too.
I agree with you on that one.
With you on that. Yep.
Sure.
Co-sign. I co-sign.
You know, can't rush greatness, but I guess 7 years is long enough.
It is.
God, what are you talking about? 7 years?
I don't know. I'm trying to get his back. I'm trying.
All right. So what do we got, Woody? Give me your quarterback.
I got I think the number one QB out of this draft class is Drake May.
Wow.
I'm saying it right now.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm saying it right now. This is a guy. His dad. Yep,
go and tell him.
It off, but I'm just saying, his dad was a college QB. He's kind of second generation. He's known what to do. His brothers, all played in UNC, NCAA champion. He has played at a high level. He has people in his circle that are familiar with high level play. I think a lot of the intangibles, that's a thing that a lot of people do not consider when they talk about QB fit. They're looking at tape. Oh my God, look at this throw he just made. Oh, he's so fast. Oh, his vertical is this. Intangibles. You are a quarterback of an organization. You are a leader. All right. Being able to handle the pressure, the spotlight. We've seen Johnny Manziel's tape from Texas A&M, all the highlights. But if you're not here, right, you cannot perform for your organization. I think Drake May is the best combination of off-field and on-field skills in this draft class. Caleb Williams, who knows? Somebody doesn't like his nail polish. He might be crying for weeks. I have no idea how much time he's going to miss if somebody accidentally steps on him when he's wearing heels. Jaden Daniels, he's okay. But he's already had a history of having his teammates not like him. The celebration that ensued when he left, all right? I mean, that's something to be noted. I know, now that, the grass is greener on the side that he's on now, but just the intangibles, the mental makeup of these children, I think Drake May is my pick, number one, if I had a chance to draft any of these quarterbacks.
Where do you go with? So where would you put Caleb in that mix?
Oh, I guess number two.
Okay. And where would you put Jaden Daniels then? 3?
Yes, I'll go. Yeah, those are the top 3, and really, what gets them to still be up there. I mean, they do have great tape, great skills. Jaden Daniels, especially right with the dual threat. But I like Penix Jr. I really do. I think
really like him too.
Is probably the most day one, week one ready of everybody, including Drake May. I think his skills translate really nicely. He's just not a supreme athlete, so his ceiling is not as high as the others. But I think if I could add him to my top 4, make it a top 4, then there it is. There's my top 4.
Nigel, what about you?
JJ McCarthy.
All right, listen.
Yeah, I want to talk about JJ McCarthy in a minute too, but what do you got, Nigel?
Great. Okay, fantastic. Look. Okay, so great. I'm gonna say the predictable, and I'm gonna go off in a hot minute. So the predictable, Caleb Williams, and then 2, I have Jaden Daniels, like everybody else. Number 3, I have JJ McCarthy.
So you do believe the JJ McCarthy hype?
I don't believe
that's
the
what
hype.
I just next, but
yeah, I think he can produce. I think, but the who I want to talk about, who I'm gonna hype up, just like Mr. Woody here, coming with an unknown and being like this guy. I'm gonna shout out the Green Wave's very own Michael Pratt. Shout out to him from Tulane, because what I think is, like Woody said before, there's a lot of quarterbacks that came out in years prior, and then a lot of them have already been replaced. Who's going to come out this year out of this draft class has been like so hyped up. My guy is going to be Michael Pratt. I'm going to tell you why. This dude was homeschooled until grade 9. Homeschooled. That already is diversity that he's overcome. If he integrated high school in grade 9 and had to meet people and hang out and then learn from another teacher, not his mom or his dad, that's adversity right there. So he's gone through the thick of it. All right. But in college, once he played and destroyed in Florida when he went to high school, in college he played for Tulane. In 2020, his record was 4-5. Played 10 games. 2021, it was 2-9. Played 12 games. But in 2022, my guy, I don't know what he was drinking, what he was eating, what kind of homeschooling he got at that point, played all 13 games and went 11-2. And then that following season, 10-1. Let's follow these guys that aren't on the radar, so to speak, that kind of fall off the wayside just a little bit, because those guys might be the guys that are going to take your team, not so much to the promised land, but at least keep them or add them to the mix, add them to that conversation, and bring your franchise back. So my guys, that's my guy. I'm going with honorable mention, Michael Pratt. Shout out to Tulane Green Wave. What up?
Wow.
I literally just Googled him. I had to click "Did you mean" 4 times to reach the person that you just said. You said Michael Pratt? You said?
Yeah.
Michael Pratt. Okay. All right.
yeah. Wait, I didn't say Chris Pratt. I was talking about Chris Pratt the whole time.
Alex, who do you got? Like, do you believe the JJ McCarthy hype that all of a sudden, like, we weren't talking about him all season, and now now we're postseason, and now everyone's talking about JJ McCarthy. Some people have him as the number 2 quarterback going. What do you have?
Since realistically nobody knows this is my new test of how I evaluate quarterbacks. I close my eyes and I think, could I picture this person beating Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl? Because that's really all it comes down to. Like, do I think they have a potential X factor? No one knows, but like, could I picture them having some kind of X factor that would differentiate them from being a good quarterback to a guy who could beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Because that's like Josh Allen, unbelievable quarterback, can't beat Patrick Mahomes.
Facts.
Joe Burrow.
No, don't, Alex. Don't appease Woody.
No,
Continue.
no.
You're fine.
I agree with Alex, man.
Yeah, I do too.
My point is, of course he can, and of course he will. But I mean, the Chiefs have been the Bills' like boogeyman the past couple. They can't get past them in the playoffs. I know in the regular season, sure. But it's Patrick Mahomes' league. So you need a guy who has some kind of extra X factor, some kind of extra sauce, and I think it has to be Caleb Williams 1, even though I do agree about there's too much noise. There's just too much noise. But I think he still just has to be number 1. From there, number 2, I'm going Jaden Daniels for that same reason, where I think, yes, he might be a lower floor guy, but I don't know. He could have some X factor. You watch those LSU games and he starts running around kind of almost borderline out of control, and you're like, this is a crazy experience, but I'm also kind of here for it too. I'm going JJ McCarthy at 3 because I think, his potential X factor is that he doesn't really turn the ball over, and he knows how to win. I'll go Drake May after that. But here's the thing with Penix, and I think we kind of saw this in the national championship game. His lack of athleticism doesn't have to do with the fact that he's not a rushing quarterback. When he got pushed off his mark a little bit and he couldn't sit there and drop dimes like he did in the semifinal game, if he doesn't have a great offensive line like that, I don't know how he can make plays. Like, I would love for a guy like Michael Penix to be my quarterback, but for me as a Giants fan, our offensive line has been dog shit for 10 years. I can't have Michael Penix back there. He would be a sitting duck back there. So I think if Penix was in a situation where he was behind a strong offensive line and he could sit back there and drop dimes. I mean, that semifinal game, that was one of the most impressive college football QB performances I've ever seen. And I think everyone watched it saying, oh, he might be the number 2 QB taken. But I think a lot has to go right for him to be dialing it up like that. So I'm going to go Caleb 1. I'll go Jaden 2, McCarthy 3, May 4, Penix 5. But
no
to me,
love for Bo Nix. No Bo Nix love in the chat.
I'm the biggest Bo Nix hater in the world. I've lost so much money betting on this. Bo Nix is crap. And I know he surprised me at Oregon too. I can't get that image of what he was at Auburn out of my head. I've tried. He was so ass for Auburn. I can't assume that he turned into the Oregon guy. Like if you're gonna say that was an aberration at Auburn, then I think you can easily say it was an aberration at Oregon. So I'm rooting for him, but he's lost me so much money. I'm out on Bo Nix.
Listen, I can appreciate that. Are you going to be at the draft this year? I know you were last year, right?
Yeah.
Where is it this year?
Amazing.
Detroit.
Oh, well, I guess that's all right, I guess.
Detroit in April, baby.
That's about as nice as, Miami in the spring. So there you go.
You know what? I've kind of realized what the NFL is doing in that they know that there is going to be no cities that they're ever going to give a Super Bowl to. So then now they're just giving them the draft.
Because that's their Super Bowl.
The draft next year, I believe it's in Green Bay. I don't even think there are hotels in Green Bay. I don't.
I think it's probably a bunch of bed and breakfasts. That's probably what it is.
Yeah,
so You're probably saying like an old white lady.
You can't have a Super Bowl there, so give them the draft.
That's actually, what? I get that. That's not a bad idea. I kind of like Bo Nix. I mean, I get what you're saying. I thought if we can talk about how Michael Pratt got better over time. Maybe Bo Nix just got to the right coaching and they got something out of him. The part that scares me with Caleb Williams is I feel like he didn't have as good of a year as he did the year before. I feel like he fell off a little bit. Now maybe that's him playing safer. Maybe that's who knows. I probably put Caleb Williams number 1 anyway. I feel like Jaden Daniels though could really be an X factor. There's something that if he gets into the right situation could be dangerous in the NFL.
See, I'm gonna cut you off there, Gene, because I agree with you 100%. And I think if the Commanders are the ones that pick him, I think that's a perfect situation. That feels like a JJ Stroud kind of situation where the team is on the cusp, but not quite. Everybody's haters just because the team, they're weird. The name's weird. Everything about them's weird. But if they just had a baller, to your point, Jaden Daniels, if he's the guy, yeah, man, I think Williams is walking into a ticking time bomb. The Chicago Bears, that situation is just a hot mess, in my opinion. But, I mean, I got Fields.
He got some pretty nice weapons right now. I wouldn't mind getting drafted by the Bears right now.
Yeah.
Go to Keenan. You got DJ Moore on the other side. Hand off to DeAndre Swift. I mean, if they just shore up their line and keep doing what they've been doing, trying to secure defensive pieces, I don't know how they don't turn it around. I mean, I feel like they have given a picture-perfect situation to get drafted into.
By the way,
sorry, Gene, I cut you off, so go ahead.
No.
DeAndre Swift, 3 teams in 3 years.
Yeah.
3 teams in 4 years.
Yeah, but he had a good season last year.
Behind the Eagles' offensive line.
But he had a good season the year before that, but he was just hurt. He was hurt, But
Detroit had a good line the year before that too, so.
I don't want to discredit him because he had a good offensive line. That should go to his favor. A little weird that this is his 3rd team in 3 years.
Yeah, easily.
I mean, but
yes.
see, in both scenarios, like the Lions, they had the chance to upgrade Jahmyr Gibbs. That's a pretty big.
They could have easily not drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. That was a crazy pick at the time.
I'm not gonna lie. You're
right.
See,
that was a crazy pick.
But the Eagles, Saquon, that's indisputable.
They could have easily kept DeAndre Swift too.
But Saquon is Saquon though. Like Swift, no one's saying Swift is Saquon.
They decided to pay Saquon $16 million a year instead of keeping DeAndre Swift. How much did Swift get? Like 8?
8, yeah, something like that. Yeah, but see, it's the double whammy of making their team better and making your team worse. Like that's a big deal.
We were never a threat.
Yeah, but they still like kicking like anybody, right? Like the little brother, he get kicked in the balls all day. He's not doing anything wrong. He's just eating his mashed potatoes. You guys eating your mashed potatoes, talking about Daniel Jones, and the Eagles say, "Hey, boom, kicking the dick." Like that's what happened.
Yeah, but those mashed potatoes were good because they're from Whole Foods, so it's fine.
Maybe that's a
Woody, you can ask Gene. You won't hear me say a bad word about number 8. I'll die on the Daniel Jones hill.
How did you feel about Tommy Cutlets last year, though? Were you all in on Tommy? Were you all in at one point? There was some people that were all in. Like if you listen to some of the radio shows, local New York radio shows, some of those guys were all in. And like,
no. Look.
It was a nice story.
When you go on vacation, that's not your life. That's your vacation, and then you go back to life. It was fun. It was a fun. We had a fun week on the beach, and then we went back. Then we went back to what life is. Life is what life is. Like it was never gonna be. Now I will say, he got a raw deal. The fact that he had one bad half of football. What game was that? Was that the Eagles game? He wins 3 straight. He has a bad half of football. Benched. Never seen again. That's not right.
Is he with another team now? Because I know he wasn't. The Giants didn't re-sign him, right? So did he get signed?
He will be re-signed. I think he hasn't been signed yet. But I've been guessing they're going to wait till after the draft.
Are you? So you said before you were dying on the Daniel Jones hill. So 100% no quarterback this year. Like you don't want a quarterback. You're trying to get Neighbors, one of those top receivers.
Well, the Giants drafted 6. You're not going to get a QB at 6 unless you. I don't know. If it's sounding like QBs are going 1 through 4. That's
1 through 3. Yeah.
1 through 3. But McCarthy, like people are talking about the Vikings. Yeah.
I trade up.
Yeah. I mean, look. Any QB that they get is going to inherit the same problems that Jones has. And you're right now, you're paying Jones $35 million. If you draft a QB, you're now going to have 2 QBs that you're paying a lot of money to. He's going to be behind the same questionable offensive line. He's not going to have a number 1 receiver, and Devin Singletary is going to be his running back. So you have to pay Jones. When you've had any kind of stability around Jones, he's looked fine. I think health is an issue. I think the fact that he almost kind of reminds me of Eli at the end of his career, where he's starting to just see the rush before it's actually there because their offensive line is so trash where one guy's in his face and then all of a sudden it just breaks down really quickly. I don't know if it makes sense to use the 6th pick on a QB and then just have that guy inherit the same problems that Jones has had. And then you're paying 2 guys, right? The Giants structure that contract so they can essentially get out of it after 2 years. This will be the 2nd year. I'm not even sure if it's the right football move, but I just think between the money, between the amount of other holes they have, between where they are in the draft, maybe they want to get Penix in the 2nd round. If he falls, maybe they trade up. But Penix is kind of day 1 ready. And the Giants, we saw, it's what we were talking about with Penix before with, needing to have a good offensive line so he could stand in there and drop dimes. Well, guess what? Washington had a great offensive line and 2 NFL ready wide receivers. That's not the Giants offense.
No.
It's just
you guys did rebuild your line though. Like this offseason, you did a good job. No?
Maybe. We've been doing this the last 10 years. I don't know. Like,
well, hey, you got an Alter on the left side.
Yeah.
Right? Then you got Runyon, the rookie, right?
I wanted Runyon. I like the Runyon.
Right.
Yeah, me too. I was sick.
And
my brother-in-law.
The price you got him for, I was like,
oh, we got Runyon. Like, we got Illuminor, who I wanted to be a Jet. Like, he was asking me, like, oh, do you think these players are good? I was like, please stop texting me, man. I'm about to block you. Stop telling me about all these tricks. Joe Douglas at the time was sitting on his hands. I like the offensive line moves. If you guys get Neighbors in the 1st round, I think that is a nice situation for Penix in the 2nd, or if you're riding with Daniel Jones and get somebody else. But I think that offensive line, I don't really like Singletary like that. I can't believe he went back to Dable.
If you told me that they're going to have the 16th ranked offensive line, which means you're exactly league average, and Jones plays every single game, I would actually sign up. I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. Wow. Call me crazy. Given where we are, that team isn't making noise, but like last year was rough. Last year was rough.
What do you
can count on 16 games, but we'll see.
And do you think Evan Neal is he like? If you remember correctly, Andrew Thomas had a rough start to his career and then turned it around. Now he's all pro. Do you think that Evan Neal is a lost cause? Do you think they can turn it around with him as well?
Well, they moved him into the guard, right? Like he has a shot.
That was Eric Flowers.
Wait, so Evan Neal's not the right guard right now?
They're debating if he's going to stay right tackle and move him into the guard. Thomas had a bad rookie year, but at least like he took a step forward his sophomore year and then had a great third year.
Yeah,
Neal took a step back. Like he was bad. I would say his rookie year was like I would have given him like a C plus, not a B minus, C plus. He was a D last year. Last year. If that's not a top 10 pick, then you're not playing him.
Okay, I get it. So who do you want to see the Giants pick at 6?
I would like to see Neighbors. Because I think the Giants have actually a bunch of decent complementary wide receiver pieces, and they all look really bad because you don't have that one guy who injects a little fear into a defense. So whatever QB you're gonna, he needs to have a wide out number one, like a true number one. I'd be fine with Neighbors. I mean, in a way, if McCarthy is gonna slide into the top 5, you're telling me then the Giants would be one pick away from Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, hey, make that happen. I'm just daydreaming.
Yeah.
But if you go wide receiver at 1, I wouldn't hate it. This would be a really sad state of affairs if it happens. But Joe Alt from Notre Dame, if you have him on one side and Andrew Thomas on the other, I'd feel pretty nice about that. So this is one of the few years in a long time where I have no idea what the Giants. I know what I want them to do, but I really don't know what they're going to do. They could go in many different directions this year.
And what do you think? Do you think the Brock Bowers to the Jets talk number 10 is legit?
Yeah, I do.
It seems like that's what I think. I feel like that's what everyone's saying it. So I mean, it's almost. And do you think he could be that? What is your opinion of him as a potential pro?
I mean, I think Rodgers would learn how to use Rodgers would figure that out. Now, I do think drafting a tight end that early is like kind of drafting a running back where that's a last piece type of move. And on the one hand, the Jets aren't that. But on the other hand, they kind of are because they have a 40-year-old QB and he's also their GM. So, I think that makes sense.
That's so sad.
I think that makes sense.
I love Bowers, man.
I think he's going to be, he's exceptional.
And then that's okay too. That's all right. Not as exciting, but it's,
I hear
it'll help.
He's not going to drop, but Woody, if Neighbors fell to number 10, you had Neighbors or Brock Bowers on the board. You're picking Neighbors though, right? Even with Mike Williams in the house.
I mean,
Bowers. I have a feeling Neighbors might be the best.
Bowers. I would still take because Odunze is the other, right? We talk about the top receivers, and that's a question that I see. 3. But I mean, I just feel like the way that this year is set, and I know it's just 1 year for Mike Williams, but still, Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, I don't mind Gibson in the slot. Give me somebody who will contribute day one. And I understand, obviously, Neighbors, that type of caliber receiver, they would figure it out, probably move Garrett to the slot, do, all different types of sets. But is Nathaniel Hackett Andy Reid? Or, even Kevin O'Connell? I don't know if I trust Nathaniel Hackett to create a creative offense with those pieces. I'd rather just be like, here, Nathaniel, here is a square hole. Look, take this square peg, Brock Bowers.
I wouldn't trust him to walk my dog.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a hot take. I actually think Neighbors might be the best receiver in this draft. There's something about Neighbors. Maybe it's the luck from LSU. I mean, we've seen LSU produce studs. Maybe that's what it is. But there's something about Neighbors that I like that I think he might even be better than Harrison. I mean, it might be a little bit of a hot take, but All right, but who do we think that just got signed? Who's the signing that we think has the biggest bust potential? Nigel, what do you think? 'Cause your team made a couple of moves.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the biggest bust ones. I think the biggest bust is going to be Jadeveon Clowney, man, the most recent one. I mean, I'm like, why are you going there, man? Why are you going to you going to the Panthers, dog? What do you like? What do you like? There's some free agency moves throughout history that have been just for the money, and we've seen it and we understand it. But it's like, I know he's 10 seasons into his career. He's still young-ish. That's not really true. 31 in the NFL. I mean, that's debatable, especially at his position. But I just feel like that's where you go to just like finish out your career. Nobody's gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, hey, remember that time Clowney was a Panther? I mean, that was sick. Nobody's gonna talk about that. I just feel like that's gonna be the biggest bust because the supporting cast isn't what he needs. The supporting cast isn't what
he's old now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I just feel like he's going to be the biggest bust. So maybe the writing's in the stone, the writing's on the wall. Maybe I'm just saying something that's inevitable. I don't know, but for me, that feels like the biggest.
So that's why I thought he would be better with the Jets.
His family is actually in Carolina. They've had some loss in the family. He wanted to be close to them. And if that's the case, I respect that all the way. There are things more important than football out there. They just lost Brian Burns. Alex, I think you know where Brian Burns went, right? So they're starving for somebody. Jadeveon Clowney, talented guy. Throw him some money, let him, be able to be close to his granddaddy. And I think that was the done deal there. We couldn't, produce enough bacon, egg, and cheese over at One Jets Drive to make him a New York Jet.
Well, work for Mike Williams.
That's a very specific example, Woody, and nobody understands what the hell you're talking about.
No, you didn't see it. Let me tell you something. The New York bacon egg. That's one of the things I'm being down in Florida now. That I found pizza, dude. I found pizza down here.
Oh, man. You didn't tell us about this again, Alex. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead,
Alex. If you come down to check the Knicks versus the Magic in Orlando, I got the pizza place for you. It's that good. I'm a New Yorker my whole life. It's that good. But so I'll tell you about it another time. But the bacon, egg, and cheese. I can't find a bacon, egg, and cheese out here, and I've been craving one lately too. That they don't. I
had a great one this morning. Sorry to rub it in.
That's not cool. Who do you think should be the biggest potential? Has the biggest potential bust as the free agents signed this year?
I'm more looking at it from the money standpoint. Calvin Ridley got $92 million. Really, $92 million. Calvin Ridley is really good. 92 million, 4 years, 92 mil is like wide receiver one money. I thought he was good last year. I believe he had 1,000 yards. Well, obviously he was suspended the year before that. I don't know. That just feels like a drastic overpay for me for a team that's like kind of mid. Like the Titans are just a mediocre team. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a fine year, but I think when you spend that much on one guy and expect him to live up to that kind of contract, I'm not going to call it Kenny Golladay, but that felt when I saw that contract pop up, I couldn't believe that he got 4 years, 92 mil. There was another wide receiver that came to my mind. Saquon actually mentioned him on the New Heights pod, not directly by name. Another wideout who got crazy money. The contrast of what the wide receivers got paid this year compared to the running backs, I thought that was an interesting part of the offseason for me.
It was slim pickings, everybody, a lot of people were looking for a weapon, and then, Ridley was like the only one,
yep.
You're a big Ridley guy though, right, Woody?
He was the only girl in the club. Like, what I'm saying? Everybody was like, yo, we gotta secure this the bag, and Ridley got a bag. So kudos for him. Like the timing of that situation for him, I think worked out. I was thinking about the same team, not Calvin Ridley, but Tony Pollard. I feel like they are trying to do what the Bears. I think the Bears did a better job. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Williams, go in there, do some work. Now we talk about the Titans and we talk about Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Pollard. Is that? I'm not sure if he is, Prince Henry, let alone King Henry, or anything of that sort. Now, I think they are the lock to potentially get Joe Alt, or get one of those top tackles, right? They're trying to work on that offensive line down there. Bill Callahan, widely considered one of the best offensive line coaches, if not the best offensive line coach in the world, is down there joining his son, father and son. They should make a movie about it at some point. Father and son down there helping to rebuild the line. So there will be holes for Pollard, but I just don't know if he is the back that they're expecting for Will Levis's development, because they have been having issues developing quarterbacks down there. They're trying their best, but that might be a disappointment. And although I literally just gave you a disappointment, allow me to give you another. Faker Mayfield got paid. I don't know if they are going to appreciate that contract in literally a year or two. I don't think they will.
I agree with that.
Mayfield, man.
I actually agree. I actually agree with both of Woody's. I think Pollard was a bad signing. I think Mayfield got overpaid, and you're right. I think a year in, they're gonna be like, "What did we do?" I think they just kind of fell in love with what they got last year. But I also have a feeling that by the end of the contract, the Eagles won't be enamored with Saquon's contract. Saquon's obviously another year older. He's been injured a lot. There's something. Yeah, I have a feeling and not for any other reason than just a feeling. I just have a feeling it's not going to work out the way that Philly fans want it to work out. Alex, what do you think, Alex?
It'd be a real shame, wouldn't it?
Spoken like a true Giants fan. You saw the grin and the little giggle behind that too. Like,
I mean, look. I love Saquon. I've been fortunate enough to get to know him as a dude, and he couldn't be a nicer guy, all class. But it'd be
having
real
said
shame.
that,
Yeah. It's a nice bloated pause. Yeah.
It'd be a real
having
shame.
said that,
I want him to be healthy. I hope he does well. But it'd be a real shame if it didn't fully work out the way that they wanted to. It'd be a real shame. It'd be a real shame.
Our friend Caleb, who's not here today with us, would be very upset because that's his team. So last topic before we get out of here. Dak, are the Cowboys are they gonna extend him? Should they extend him? Are they going to extend him? It's like a part A and B. Alex, we'll start with you.
They would be so stupid to extend him. And I'm not saying keep it. Like, I think Dak is a perfectly fine quarterback. Like, I think he actually gets overhated. How can you watch that playoff game and say, you know what we want? We want more. We want more of this. Like, you have him. He's your QB. Fine. You can't watch that game and say, you know what, let's double down. Because that's essentially what you're doing by extending him. No. As a Giants fan, I would be happy if they did that. But
do you think they will? They shouldn't, but will they?
No, because I think Jerry Jones has been kind of a dick to him recently in some of these interviews. Like, I've seen some of these quotes. I wouldn't like to be Dak hearing some of these quotes from, the owner, the GM, everything that Jerry Jones is. I don't think they will. I'd be surprised if they do. They definitely shouldn't. Again, I think he's overhated. I'm definitely not going to call him underrated or anything like that, but I think he's overhated, and there's no way that they should extend him.
So real quick in the chat, Woody, Johnny Jimenez.
I just seen that, Johnny.
Yeah. So,
oh my God, I'm not watching. I was trying to get in a better mood, so I'm just only looking at these smiling faces on my screen right now. But thank you for letting me know that there is a pleasant surprise waiting for me when I get off to see the Mets lose. That's like my wife texting me, telling me, "Oh, you got a poopy diaper to change." Oh, great! Can't wait! Leave the wipes right out. All right, I'll be right there. So,
Alex, Sunil wants to ask, who do you think the Cowboys will get if they don't extend Prescott?
Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito. That's what they should get. Because Tommy DeVito grew up 8 miles away from East Rutherford, New Jersey, and that guy's born to be a giant.
Yeah, that is definitely a pop-off. You think he fits in Dallas, huh?
Yeah, I would love to just have secret spies everywhere. Tommy DeVito is a guy who would bleed blue. You put him in Dallas, that could only help the good guys.
He'll pull a what you call it by giving out the playbook. What's his name?
Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman. Exactly. Hey, do you remember? This is a rogue reference here. Do you remember a couple years ago there was a Wake Forest announcer who was mad that he didn't get hired as the assistant? He had applied to be, I believe, the OC or the QB coach for Wake Forest. Didn't get the job. Was the radio announcer, and then it came out that he was giving the other team Wake Forest.
I remember this.
Oh my God!
It was from 2016, 2017.
I don't
Crazy.
remember this.
Crazy.
Sounds familiar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Nige, what do you got for Dak, man? Will they or should they?
They will not, and they shouldn't. I just feel like I'm with Alex in terms of Jerry Jones he's been very overt with things he said about trading for Trey Lance. Like they got Trey Lance there too, right? Which I'm going to get to in a second. But he's been very overt about, this is a situation here in Dallas. This is what we're doing. I just think Dak has burnt too many bridges in the manner of his play when it comes to playoffs, taking the team. He had, sure, man, arguably he had one of his best seasons he's ever had, which is wild to think of because it didn't feel like it. Even though you watch the games, you're like, it doesn't feel like it. He was runner-up in MVP this year. Like how it just, again, it doesn't feel like it, right? Mm-hmm. But I think at the end of the day, the metric that we're measuring this whole thing by is playoff wins and how far you're getting, especially if you're America's team. There a lot of stuff comes with that, wearing that, that belt or holding on to that. So I think they will not sign him. And I think that at this point, Trey Lance, even though I know who's in front of Lance? Oh, Cooper Rush. So I know that there's a Cooper Rush in front of Lance. And so I just feel like they won't extend it. He'll play out his contract. He'll move somewhere else, and they'll just move somebody in just in the interim as a Band-Aid for a season or two, and then they're going to have to do something drastic and get somebody. Because I just feel like it's not working. He's only getting so far with that team. It's not working. Jerry Jones is like, peace you out. And Jerry Jones isn't above doing that kind of hoodwinking shit. Like he's not above just pulling the carpet under somebody, So I just feel like he's at his wit's end with Dak. Pardon my cussing. I'm just really excited about this topic. Because Dak should go.
What do you think, man?
I don't know. I guess I'm about to respectfully disagree. I feel like
Woody, guy. What? Listen, North Carolina lost. Okay, I'm sorry, but you can't. Why are you disagreeing with us the whole time, the whole show? Continue.
It's hey. I can send you the address to the nearest Whole Foods. We can discuss. All I'm trying to say is that Jerry held on to Tony Romo, and Tony Romo had the exact same issue. Tony was there. How many years? 10 years? Dak, I don't think Dak is going anywhere. I agree that he's overhated, but I also agree that he's not going to win Super Bowls. So, that's just Jerry's dilemma. I think he has done enough, and I think that's the whole thing about Dak's whole existence. He has done enough to be in MVP type conversations to the point where it's like, it would be crazy. Like you're going to get rid of a QB of Dak's caliber. There people in the comments being like, well, and replace him with who? With who? You're going to get rid of somebody, as good as Dak. Like he is good enough where you can say that, but bad enough where Alex is not worried that Dak Prescott's in the division and it's cool. You're all right, cool. So that's it's a terrible place to be. And that's actually. This is an aside. This is actually a homer take that's just coming out of me right now. Is that's why I do not want the Jets to draft a late round quarterback, because I do not think Brock Purdy. He is Kyle Shanahan. Congratulations. Tom Brady is one of one. I do not want Dak Prescott. I do not want Kirk Cousins. I want somebody who is a first-round pick, maybe second, but preferably first-round pick to lead this team after Aaron Rodgers is done. I do not believe in the late round quarterbacks, and Dak I think is one of the best of the bunch, and he's not good enough to do it. So would I extend him? No. Will Jerry Jones do it? Probably. Them boys.
I think he definitely will be, and I think he should be, and I'll tell you why. He is overhated, and I think he's overhated because he's a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. Same way Romo was overhated. I just think he's going to be. I just think he's overhated. I think Alex put it perfectly, and I think if he was in another city, we wouldn't look as badly or as down on Dak as we do with him being a Cowboy. So I do think they will re-sign him or extend him, and I think they should. I know Donnie Clark is agreeing with you, Woody, that he thinks that'll happen. I just think it's the hate comes from strictly because he's a Dallas Cowboy.
It can't, not strictly.
The overhating of it, though.
Yes, but you look at what he's done in the playoffs. And
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but he's
Yes.
but and I forget if it was Nigel or Woody that said it, but someone said before, just not that long ago, that Romo used to do the same thing.
That was
And
Woody.
Woody. So my thing is, I think it's purely, I think just the fact that he is a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Like whatever hate he gets is, I think, doubled just because he's a Dallas Cowboy. Because everybody either loves the Cowboys or they hate the Cowboys.
Listen, man, I agree with you, but I'm on board. I really think it's also because it's also part and parcel because he can't go any further than the first round of the playoffs, man. It's honestly,
but neither could Romo.
people.
I know, but I feel like Romo's a different. I don't know what it is. I feel like Romo's slightly a different situation. I don't know what it. I can't pinpoint why, but there's something about Dak. Maybe it's just the new coming of age, like the new Cowboys front. Like when Dak showed up, it was going to be a new generation. They had a lot of weapons in tow. They have a lot of weapons in tow now. I think maybe even more than what Romo had, and it's just not. You can't keep making it to the first round of playoffs and definitively losing to the point where it's just a joke. How many more memes do we have to get of Stephen A, man? Like how many more? You know what I mean? Like it's just
in Romo's time. I mean, they had weapon, they had Dez, they had T.O., like they had so many.
Listen, you're not wrong. Maybe he had more. Maybe Romo had more. You're not wrong, man. But I don't know. There's something different.
Most reliable tenor. I don't know. I think both. I literally think they are the same. I truly believe. It is the same. It is, Tony was undrafted. Dak was late. Either way, they came up. They have proved the doubters wrong. They light up the regular season. I mean, fantasy football, I have been a fantasy champion with Tony Romo as my quarterback and with Dak as my quarterback. Just now, I just had Dak and CD. Oh, my God. I was walking with pep in my step all season, even though the Jets sucked because my fantasy team was popping. They are amazing there. And then once it's time for the playoffs, they are not good. Like they are the same, and I think Jerry will show the same loyalty. Dak Romo.
Look, it's really the same thing as the draft question. Can you close your eyes and picture Dak Prescott beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl?
Zero chance. I don't even have to close my eyes. Actually, I'll do this. I'll make it wider for you.
No,
like it's no way.
No.
But there's not. But I can't picture. That's like no quarterbacks. You could still have a good quarterback that just can't beat Mahomes. Like Burrow can't. Well, Burrow might be able. Yeah, Burrow's beating Mahomes, but
I don't want to get back into it. But I think Josh Allen can too. I feel like that was.
I'm with you on Josh Allen. I'm with you on. But my point is like, I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. You're a huge Josh Allen fan, and Josh Allen is like.
We'll go that far. I respect his game though. I'm scared of him as a Jet fan. Yeah. I am scared.
As you should be. As you should be. And Josh Allen is still 0-3 in the playoffs against the Chiefs. 0-4?
Oh,
maybe 0-4.
Could be 4. Definitely at least 3. But I would say the last 2 times weren't his fault. Like the overtime game, like what can you do?
Yep. Yeah.
And then even this last game, I don't know. That's I don't love counting wins as a QB stat because it is a team game. Kickers can win games, they can lose games. Tyler Bass, I'm not trying to attack him, like Buffalo, he was receiving death threats and stuff. I'm not doing all that, but like kickers can win and lose games. Tom Brady has to be thanking the kickers of his lifetime that have won him Super Bowls. So I don't know. It's tough.
If you look at the clutch gene,
solely on
turnovers.
But you know, I literally think Josh Allen is the third best quarterback on planet Earth walking today.
I think he's maybe the second.
I like Burrow a bit more. I like Burrow better.
And
then of course it's Sam Darnold. So
Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson.
Guys, that's gonna do it for today's show, man. Alex, we really appreciate you coming in, man, and hanging out with us longer than originally we had told you. So thank you so much for doing that for us. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Yeah, no, appreciate you guys having me on. Always love coming on here. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that good stuff at Overtime Day. Yeah, find me there. Always interviews, takes, some roasts, all the good stuff.
We got to have you back on again. I know you're gonna be busy for draft time, so maybe after the draft, when you're always busy, I'm sure, but after the draft, we'll have you in for a little draft discussion about how it went and about your trip to the lovely Detroit city.
Yeah.
Are you gonna visit 8 Mile when you're there?
We're in April, huh?
You gonna visit 8 Mile when you're there?
Yeah. Everybody from the 313.
There we go. Thank you very much, Alex, for doing this.
Have a real good marriage.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, and have a good weekend, everyone. Peace.
Take care.
Peace, y'all. Later.